Hi, iFIT family. I'm just going to go ahead and try and go live myself in the group. So I'm going to find out real quick whether or not this is working. But while Alice tries to figure out how to make this a live event, I'm going to message her and let her know that I'm live in the group. So hello. How are you? Happy New Year. So the idea with this live session, and we'll do a live event together. Good, Alice sees me now. Okay, awesome. Yay. Well, we'll try it this way. So hi, Happy New Year, y'all. If you are joining, I would love in the comments if you could just say hello and where you're joining from. I'd love to connect with you, and would you share where you're joining from and what you're dreaming for this new year? What are you dreaming for this new year? I think that would be a great way for us to introduce ourselves to each other. One of the ways that I have really come to understand my work over the years is to be a magnet for like-hearted people, for like-hearted souls. Yay, you guys are piling on. Hello. So we'll do this as an event, when we get it fine-tuned, but I saw the ability to go live and I thought, hey, I'll do it this way and we'll figure it out. Yay, Jennifer from St. Peters, Florida. Hello. Welcome. Oh, yes. Leah from Central Illinois. Okay, I'll say this just a few times as you guys are kind of shifting and piling in. So why don't you say where you're here from tonight and what you're dreaming for 2021. Julia says, dreaming for a better body and mind. I love that you included mind. Jeannie says, hello from Troy, Illinois. I'm going to reach my fitness goals this year. What are they? I want you to get specific. Amanda, hello from Wisconsin. Hi, guys. Anna says, Anna in New York, dreaming of visiting my friend in Montana. Do you know about my Montana hiking and running series and soon to come more meditation series? I love Montana so much. Okay, who else do we have here? We have Elena, dreaming for being back in running shape and health for your sister. You know what? We're going to send some prayers and vibes tonight to your sister, Elena. Yes, be wishing and envisioning that for you both. Moira says, hello from Natick, Massachusetts, dreaming for a happy, healthy new year, drinking more water. Bingo, if you do one thing, if you up level in one way, drink more water, eating better and keeping up your exercise routine. I love it. John, goal is to find my center. Yes, especially in these days, right? We're going to do a little breathing exercise today that I think might bring us into that. Jim, hello from Northbridge, Massachusetts. Rhonda, beginner to iFIT and cycling. Welcome to the party. Anna, just 100%. I love it. Jamal, be able to freely go out to dinner and socialize. Yes, right? Yeah, yes, we're all dreaming of that. Jill, hey from Toledo, Ohio, getting stronger this year. Yes. Amy says, overcoming my mental obstacles that take me to the next fitness level. Love that. Crystal from Massachusetts, dreaming for inspiration. I want to grow my meditation abilities. Yes. I am step 1, drink more water. Step 2, sleep enough. Step 3, green smoothie. Step 4, meditate, baby. There you go. Okay. Oh, you guys are you're showing up big time. Oh, I love all of this. Okay, so can I encourage you? And somebody just said praying for you. Thank you. I'll take it. Can I encourage you to scroll through these comments and will you find at least one that resonates with you that's like, sweat family, soul family right there. And will you risk messaging that person just a happy new year and I'm cheering you on in your goal? Can we really create community together? I think that these New Year's visions are a great opportunity to do that. And wow, you guys, what a fantastic thing to see like 75 of you piling on live. Well, it's been a momentous 24 hours, yeah? If you are feeling like your mind is swirling, your body is tense, if you're even feeling like sort of more inflammation or pain, or just like it's hard to focus, that is so normal given all of the trauma, all of the uncertainty and instability that we have had to navigate this last year. So the way I wanted to begin tonight, I'm going to jump into your questions, do just a really fun Q&A. Some of you pre-submitted them, but I'll also just do kind of like a quick fire round, and we'll do another event with Alice too, so we'll do like a Q&A with her maybe next week. But what I want to just invite you into right now, and even if you're watching this while you're making dinner or folding laundry or whatever, is to just take a really deep breath into your belly. Take a deep breath into your hips, into your ribs, into your belly. And as you inhale, let your belly expand. And exhale, navel comes in toward your spine. And do you feel already just the melt? That's what I like to call it. That's how I like to think of it, is the melt, right? The melt through the shoulders, the melt through the face, the melt through the hips and the lower back and wherever you're holding tension. Mine is always like right here. So we're gonna breathe, we're gonna do 4 breaths together. And I'm gonna give you 2 points of focus for these breaths. So guys, this counts as meditation. This counts. So we're gonna breathe 4 times, and inhale, you're gonna inhale for 4 counts and exhale for at least 6 counts. So the only important thing is that your exhale is longer than you normally would. And you're gonna find that is this incredible tool to just lower the heart rate, just to like ride that elevator down out of the busy, crazy mind and into your beautiful, strong body. So take a deep breath into your belly, let the belly expand, and exhale through the nose, really slow, like luxuriate in that exhale. Good. This next inhale, what is it that you've been carrying today? Use this inhale to get clear on what you've been carrying today. And this exhale, release. Take your good, sweet time to just get it all out, what you do not want to carry for the rest of this evening. Maybe it's just for the rest of this evening, you're just giving yourself a break. So let's do that again. Same image. Inhale big to really see what you have been preoccupied with, what you've been sending your energy and your focus to today. Let your belly swell, your whole body swell with breath. And then exhale, fully release it. Just let it go and feel that full body melt. We get one more beautiful breath. And on this next inhale, what are you envisioning for 2021? What are you dreaming for 2021? See one dream. Inhale into it and exhale to root into, to embody it, to claim it, to like try it on for size and inhabit it. Yeah. Yes. So I already feel like a pretty massive shift in my body. And I just want to give you guys that gift that we have this technology of our breath. And when you join breath to heart, to mind, to spirit, it is amazing, the ways that we're able to really regulate our bodies. So it's important right now with all that we're going through. However you're feeling, I'm sure you're feeling strongly, right? It's so important right now to be intentional about extra self-care. So some form of meditation, and it could be what we just did together. If you haven't discovered it yet, look up the meditation series that I did for iFIT in Montana. There's 6 meditations, so it's very accessible. The locations will blow your mind. They're so beautiful, and truly magic happened as we were filming this meditation series. When we did the sunset one, there had been a forest fire, so the colors are just insane in the sky. You'll see. It's somehow, like spirit was in on it, and we were, we somehow like ended up in magic hour or on the top of mountains, right at the right time of light. So anyway, those are there for you. I also have a podcast called Alter, and I alternate each episode. One episode will explore a topic, and then the next episode is a meditation. So you'll see half the meditations if you look up Alter, like in iTunes podcasts or wherever you access your podcasts. You'll see every other one is a meditation, and they're about 5 to 10 minutes. So that's another great place if you don't even know, like I don't even know what a meditation practice would look like. I couldn't possibly meditate. I don't know how, or I'll fall asleep. That's that iFIT Montana series, and which I believe is available on the app, not just on equipment. And my meditations on Alter are there for you. So be extra intentional in this time right now, this really tumultuous time, to have those moments of integration, to let your body release what it has been carrying, because our bodies hold everything. Our bodies keep the score. And also, so stillness is one half of it, and sweat is the other, right? The gospel of stillness and sweat. I'll be preaching it my whole life. It is, I think of it as, my shortcut to spirit. So also be intentional in your workouts. Here's what is going to set you free, especially if you are, all of us come into January with like fired up goals for our bodies. We should, right? I'm doing a half marathon it's June 26th. I'm actually going to invite y'all into it to train with me if you want. We can do it, virtually. We'll see what the world holds for us by then. It's actually in Glacier, Montana. And I haven't raced a half marathon in a long time. At least 8 years. I haven't actually raced one in at least 8 years. Well, I've done them as part of a half Ironman, but I haven't done a standalone half marathon. So that is my kind of big physical goal in terms of performance for this year. But my major goal, actually, in terms of my physical strength building, is twofold. Mobility, first of all. I want to really safeguard my body from injury. So important, especially as we age, right? But mostly I want to work out for the joy of it. And that's where I was going when I said, this will set you free, especially if you're coming into January and you have and you're out of, I don't like to call it out of shape. I like to call it out of practice, right? So let's say you're out of practice, or that perhaps at the end of a very long and housebound holiday season, you're made of cheese, right? We can kind of feel this way by this point in the year. If you're in that kind of beginner mode, or it's been a while, you have two goals. Number one is to not get injured, because sometimes we can way overkill it, right? And then we're injured and we're not able to work out for the next, for the next week or month or whatever it is. And number two is to work out for the joy of it. So can you see your workout as your place? This is how I view my work. My workouts are a work in. So I have to work out every day, not because I have to burn X amount of calories, or I have to build X amount of muscle, or I have to fit into whatever size. No, over that. That's not a strong enough why. That's not my why. I work out because sweating and embodying ourselves fully is what gets us in here. It's what gets me into the heart. So a strong body thinks different. A strong body thinks differently about your life. You know what I mean? When you have been on the bike, especially, I know this is mostly bike riders in here. That's my first love. When you've been on that bike, and this is what I love about a stationary bike, a bike that goes nowhere so we can go everywhere, right? What I love about it is that since you're locked in and you don't have to worry about traffic or whatever, you can go for it, right? When you're properly warmed up, you can go for it, and you've had that experience. Maybe it's a blend of the music, being just right, and the instructor saying exactly the thing that's just setting your heart on fire, and your body is performing at its full potential, and suddenly you have the best idea that you've had in a week, a month, a year. You stop settling for things that aren't worthy of this kind of power that you get a sense of, right? And you see your creativity for what it is. So I work out because that is, I get my best ideas. I feel most confident. I feel most empowered and connected and integrated when I'm a big sweaty mess. So if you can view your workout from that perspective versus like, okay, my goal is, to do a 30-minute cardio workout and 2 strength workouts of every week or whatever it is, that, when it's not quite connected to the heart, right? So it's not maybe a big enough why, but the why of, I want to feel as joyful and powerful and visionary as I possibly can every day. So of course I'm going to sweat. Of course I'm going to lose my breath, right? I'm going to remember that there are some things worth losing your breath for. So that's my big invocation to you. Before I jump into questions, and you guys are already starting to add a bunch of beautiful ones. So can I say right now, since there's so many phenomenal comments starting to fill this comment feed, if you have a question, could you just ask it again? So it's at the bottom of the feed and I'll see it. And before I jump into questions tonight, I want to let you know, so there's a few different ways to connect with me. Kind of like my main playground is Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, I'm just at Nicole Meline. On Facebook, my page is Nicole Joy Meline, and I try to hang out there versus my personal profile because there's just more capacity to it. I also lead a Facebook group called Nicole Meline Sweat Family, so that's free and open to anybody. Jump on in. And the one creation I really want to share with you guys tonight that is I just launched it a couple weeks ago and I'm just so excited to share it, is called Heartwood. So my vision casting workshop for 2021, it's called Heartwood, and it's called that because that's my word of the year, and I'm inviting y'all into this vision. The wood at the center of a tree is made of a different quality than the rest of the tree, and the only way that tree can form this heartwood, carpenters know it well, that's what they always want to work with, it's the best quality of wood, is to go through adversity. Is to go through a season of not enough nutrients or forceful winds or an early freeze or any of these things. So hello, this is what we're in right now, right? This year, that's not, this season, let's call it. It seems like it's not wrapping up with a year. So I want this year to be my year of heartwood, of that formation of strength and resilience, that core that I can come back to for the rest of my life, that strongest ring of my life. So I bring you through 12 different spheres of life to really cast vision and distill your dreams and what you're working toward and map a path toward it for this year. So if that resonates with you, I wanted to make sure that I mention it tonight, especially as we're talking about what we are dreaming for 2021. The world needs your dreams. I need your dreams. I need you to start working your messy way into these dreams. We need it. We need it. So, questions. All right. I love it. Rhonda, you just showed up, and so I'm going to show up to you first because I love it when someone's like, let's go big. Rhonda says, as someone who struggles with depression and anxiety, I am my best self when I'm active and push myself. It gives me confidence and positive energy in the center of my mind. Not a question. I did notice it wasn't, it's perfect. Yes. Yes. The best rebellion that you can do against the blah, that we can all kind of tend to feel in January, February anyway, but especially with what's going on and what we're all dealing with right now, is to energize your body, right? To remember your own energy. Okay, Kendra asks, what do you put in your green smoothie? So 2 things. I'll give you kind of like my quick and dirty green smoothie, but that actually reminds me, if you go to my website, NicoleMeline.com, NicoleMeline.com/one-day-reset, I'm actually gonna write it into the chat. I have an at-home retreat, and I include my very favorite green smoothie recipe in it. So if you want, it's for all the magic supplements and whatever that I put in it, you can get that there. And I also have a yoga practice, my altar practice, and a bunch of other fun things for you to do an at-home retreat, which is the version that we can do these days, right? I can't wait until I can be leading Alter Journeys retreats again. But so basically, I like kind of a tropical, bent to it. So I'll start with, this is actually important, start with ice. Because if you're using a blender, you're gonna be blending up all of the vegetables, because you're mostly gonna be putting vegetables in. And when you are blending on that kind of heat, it can deconstruct some of the nutrients. It can denature some of the nutrients that are in those vegetables. So just even as simple as starting with ice, I'll start with ice and frozen pineapple, and then kale and whatever healthy greens are in season. Kale, spinach, dandelion root, pick your, I love sprouts. But broccoli, if you've got a really high power blender, put in as much green as you possibly can, and then just enough fruit that you can enjoy it, right? A lot of smoothies can be mostly fruit, and they're delicious, but they're essentially desserts. So it's like dousing your body in a lot of sugar. So if you really want that antioxidant kick, for sure do that. I always add turmeric and ginger to my green smoothie. And even if that's all you do, that turmeric and ginger is the most immunity boosting compound that you can take, natural source that you can take. Turmeric is super high. It's really good at fighting inflammation, which is kind of the baseline problem of any of our physical injuries. If you have a little muscle tear, if you have muscle soreness or whatever, it's usually some kind of inflammation. Often we've got inflammation going on in our gut. So that's kind of my basic smoothie, and I share the souped up version of it with all kinds of my favorite supplements and stuff in that NicoleMeline.com/one-day-reset. So let's see. And I do have to say this, if there's one thing that you do to up-level your nutrition this year, if you're just sort of at a loss, you want to start eating better, and it's what do I go plant-based? Do I cut this? Do I cut that? Just add a green smoothie that's mostly vegetables to your day. And you'll notice, first of all, it's gonna really fill you up. It's gonna long-term energize you. Just doing that, you're gonna be giving your body the nutrients that it needs. And you'll find that it's very likely, if you do that, every day or so for a week, your cravings are gonna start to shift, because our cravings are created by our microbiome, by the bacteria in our gut. So I do a whole nutrition program and deep dive called Weighty. You can find that on my website, but that's really a core foundation of it too, is just, step one is just to start getting more vegetables into your body, for the antioxidants and for all of the, vegetables are magic. Eat as many as you can. Okay, Melissa Mandrew, question. I am doing your weight loss series and I will start ride 4 tomorrow. I try to do it every other day. That's great. What do you suggest doing for the in-between days? Right now I'm just doing live rides or TED Talk ones. I think that's so cool that that's an option. But I want to make sure I'm still doing enough to lose 2 pounds a week. All right. Thanks. Love your energy. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Love that. So I really love either alternating days on the bike, or alternating a big bike workout with a really light bike. If you love the bike and you have to be on it 6 days a week, at least take 1 day off. But I think that alternating days is fantastic. One of the things you'll really notice with the bike is hip flexors, tight hip flexors. So that's that muscle that connects your big quadriceps muscle, the top of your leg, to your hips. And since most of us spend a lot of time sitting and kind of collapsed in front of screens, that muscle can really shorten. And when you're on the bike, it's going to get even shorter. So the most important, just very, very simply, I would say that other day to do lengthening exercises. So something as simple as a walk, a vigorous walk, you'll notice in walking, you're lengthening that hip flexor. And that's going to make your lower back a lot happier too, because it's the counter muscle to that. So yoga, absolutely yoga, mobility, especially for the guys. Yoga is not just a girl thing. It actually started as a guy thing in India, right? It's got some roots. Anyway, so mobility, any kind of mobility and opening. Strength training is important. So if you can, yoga and strength training, maybe yoga, strength training, a walk on the days that are not, that you're not riding. One of my favorite parts of quarantine is, as a trainer, and as working with folks that I coach, is for the most part, many of us are now working from home. It's got all kinds of downsides to it, right? Not to mention the fact that it's very close to our fridge, right? It's very close to the kitchen. But one of the upsides is that you probably have the freedom, like you're not you're not surrounded by a bunch of other people that would think it's weird if you would do certain movements, right? So I want to challenge you, if you're used to thinking of working out as this thing that you do during one window of the day, okay, well, I work out for 45 minutes in the morning or in the evening or whatever it is, I would like to challenge you, sure, do that still. But why don't you set a goal for yourself, and especially, Melissa, with your 2 pounds a week, this will absolutely make a difference. Every hour on the hour move. Dancing counts. Turn on a song for 5 minutes and dance. Do however many jumping jacks you're going to challenge yourself to. Do 10 push-ups. Please do 10 squats, because that's going to turn on your whole posterior chain if you've been sitting. So can you try this tomorrow to move on the hour every hour? Maybe it's for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, but that's going to amp up your heart rate. You're going to feel better by the end of the day, right? And that's also going to increase calorie burn and increase the energy that you're operating in. All right. I love that you guys are talking back. You're talking to each other in the chat. That's the best. Love it. Where do you get your inspiration to be so motivating for all of us? I love all of your rides. Well, I'll give you the short answer. I am intentional about putting myself on a steady diet of wonder, which is kind of a funny thing to say, but that's how I've kind of put it to myself in creating this program, Weighty, which has really been the work of 10 years of working in the fitness industry, and encountering so many diets and so many ways of thinking about food. I wanted to think about nutrition from a very much broader sense. Sure, like getting into the science of nutrition, but thinking more broadly about how we nourish ourselves and the fact that our lives are an exchange of energy. So I get a choice in what I input into my body. It's food, but I also get a choice what I input. I get a choice the podcasts I listen to. I get a choice the people that I really invest time with and I listen to. I get a choice the leaders that I follow, right? I get a choice the media that I consume and how I interact with it as hopefully more of a creator than a consumer. I want to challenge you guys to that. Be more creators than consumers, especially on social media. So I've learned I am at highest energy when I'm intentional about my spiritual practices, but also I read poetry every day. I read imaginative literature every day. I watch documentaries that inspire me rather than like trashy reality TV. And it's important to say, I don't usually feel like doing those things at first, right? Like I would rather, if I've had a long day, I'd probably rather settle into some, kind of like low-hanging fruit, whatever kind of trashy reality TV. But I know if I watch that documentary that my friend texted me about, okay, the one that I want you all to watch is called on Netflix, The Octopus, My Teacher, and watch it with your kids. It sounds so weird and it's magical. But so I'm intentional about the inputs. so that I can be intentional about the outputs. So that's the mantra I just want to challenge you to. Like, how does that play out in your own life this next week? Don't think of it so much from, okay, I'm really going to lay down the law with myself and how I'm eating. We can kind of be trained to do that in diet culture. It's not a big enough why. But versus this week, I'm going to be intentional about all of my inputs so I can be intentional about my outputs, right? Oh, Tony, you guys, I love the conversations that are happening between you all. Okay, so I'm scrolling through looking for questions. As a beginner, I get very nauseous during the intense workouts, including the recent weight loss series. Any tips? I'm so glad you asked this. This is very common, first of all. So it can be a lot of different things. Number one is water. So, and you don't want to drink necessarily a ton of water while you're in a workout. You kind of want to experiment with that because that could be upsetting your stomach. But I definitely, in a 30-minute, definitely in a 45-minute ride, but in a 30-minute ride, I empty a water bottle, like a good sized water bottle. So I'm drinking a lot during the ride. So make sure that you're drinking water, but make sure, more importantly, that you actually get on the bike hydrated. So when you're going to work out an hour beforehand, drink a big bottle of water, and so you have time to go to the bathroom or whatever. But the important thing is to get on that bike hydrated. That's also gonna, if you ever have any issues with cramping, that can be a big part of what's going on there. But mostly with nausea, it's usually, it can be two things. If you're pretty new, like really, really new, and you're out of practice, right? Not necessarily out of shape, your body's just adjusting. And so take it easy. And can you challenge yourself to the point that it feels good versus to the point that it feels awful, overwhelmingly awful? That's a really good place to start, is to challenge yourself to the point that it feels good. So we could have a long conversation here about kind of whether to override an instructor or to override the bike's programming. And here's what I'd say about that in a nutshell. It's so much more important to listen to yourself first and foremost, which is actually a learned art. Like, learning our body's signals is a process, right? And it's something we learn by trial and error. But really learning how to listen to your body and to know not every day is different. You're getting on that bike in a different body every single day. Sometimes you've had a few nights great sleep, you're energized, you're hydrated, you're ready to go. Good. That's the day to go for it and see if you can get a PR or see if you can, surpass some record of your own. But there's other days that just getting on that bike and breaking a sweat and limbering up and feeling good, mission accomplished, right? So really respect where you are. If I haven't had a good night's sleep, and whatever has gone on the day before, like, that workout's going to be different. And because, again, the metric that ultimately matters is joy, right? It's you wanting to get back on that bike the next day. So see if that helps and let me know. Let me know how your progress is. Okay. Also, yeah, ginger. You guys are throwing out ginger. Ginger is such a superfood. I actually have some ginger tea right here. But that can help to steady your stomach also. Okay, let's see. This is such a big old conversation. I love it. Lacey asks, how can I shift my mind to push myself? I feel I get close to the edge you talk about, but then pull back. I'm so glad that you put yourself out there to say that, Lacey, because it's me too, all of us. We might pretend otherwise. So I like to say that there's two categories of people. There's safety people and there's growth people. And of course, we are in either of these at different moments of our lives, right? But it's important to kind of see those signals to see like, oh, the real like core value of my life right now is safety because I'm afraid of all kinds of things. Or the core value of my life right now is growth. Bring on the risk, right? Bring on the edge. So I know I always want to be becoming a growth person, and we're always becoming, right? So first of all, here's your meditation practice for this next week, Lacey, and anyone else who this is really resonating with. Like if you feel a bit small right now, if you feel, I mean, so many of us have just had the rugs been pulled. We're dealing with grief, we're dealing with maybe depression, we're dealing with anger, we're dealing with injustice, frustration, so much going on right now. There's just been so much loss. And it's important to recognize that. It is also important to know that is the fertilizer. That is the fertilizer of your next chapter. So to really dig into what you're feeling and what needs healing and getting clear on that. So my challenge for you, the meditation practice that I want to invite you into, Lacey, for the next for all of next week, for this weekend and all of next week. So you're gonna do an 8-day meditation. And it can be so simple, the breath practice that we started with, where it's the, longer inhale, belly swelling in through the nose, but longer exhale. So maybe like a 4 counts inhale and a 6 counts exhale. Not important the count, but just a little longer exhale. So you're giving the body the signal to relax you're giving the body the signal to release all the tension that it's carrying. And that brings you into a new space where you can dwell in the future, where you can literally create the future in your body, where you can dwell in possibility. So the vision that I want to invite you into is your answer to this question, and it might feel really, it might feel false or impossible, the first time you try it on, but to inhabit your regality. So when I hear that, immediately like my spine strengthens, my shoulders drop, my heart opens from protecting itself. Here I am, courageous, open. How would a queen sit? How would a king sit? Because you are. Inhabit your regality. So hopefully that is going to enlarge your sense of yourself, enlarge your sense of who you are. And as your body dwells in possibility, in the same way like when I was saying earlier, when we're working out and we're just going for it and you feel your power, and then suddenly you think bigger about your life, you think bigger about your relationships, you think bigger about your work, you think bigger about your creations. Similarly, when we really inhabit our regality, connect to spirit, connect to our divine source, however that manifests for you, again, you're going to feel in your body a spaciousness. You're going to take up space. So inhabit your regality. So here's just super simple mantra. I inhabit my regality. I inhabit my regality, or I move into it, or I step into it. So try that on next week, and I want to see how that goes for you. Seriously, let me know. Keith says, when drinking water, you suggest adding anything to the water? And just so you guys know, we'll go about 5 more minutes. If you have a burning question, now's the time. I try not to so I'm coming to you from New Mexico, where I just moved 2 weeks ago from New York, after 11 years in New York City. And so it's been a massive move for me. And I'm loving it. It's wild here. And I'm at 7,000 feet of altitude. And so like I'll add electrolytes to water, and I'm still kind of adjusting in workouts. But that's about it. I try to, an amazing thing happens with sugar. When you when you eat less of it, you want less of it, right? So, but the important thing is to get water, right? So if you need to add something, add something. I've got some good additions, but I just don't use them often. Okay. Wendy, I struggle with sugar addiction. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. The green smoothie can work wonders. And I talk about this in Whey Tea quite a bit, but get snobbier. Don't settle for when you start up leveling your sweets, that's also you're going to want fewer, better things. So I have phenomenal dark chocolate every day. I actually just ordered it from this company in Canada. It's my fave. And I've gotten snobby about chocolate, and I can't even, when I try a super sugary Hershey's, or a Snickers or something, it just tastes fake when you've had the real thing. So the more real things you can eat, the fewer processed foods you can eat, you're going to start to get snobbier in your cravings, which is, better for your body. We talked lots about that in Whey Tea. Okay. Yeah, a lot of you guys are getting off of sugar in January. That's awesome and hard, but you can do it. Okay. Let's see. Do you like superfoods like beets? I take beet powder. Yeah, I do. I really love, actually beets are definitely a staple of my diet, and I used to not like them. And I hope that gives you guys hope. I didn't like beets. I didn't like Brussels sprouts. I didn't like spinach, and I love all these things now. So start eating it. Start eating the stuff that you would like to crave, and you will start to crave it. Okay, Melissa, what about Pedialyte to help after workouts or some sort of pre-workout drink? So it's a good question. And of course, it's totally dependent on your body that day, right? So if you're at altitude, or if you come into a workout especially dehydrated, be aware of that. And maybe and all of us have different bodies, right? So maybe you might be more susceptible to cramping, say if you're not taking in a lot of electrolytes. But the one thing I would just be sensitive to is that the supplement industry is so massive, and the sports the kind of sports nutrition industry is so massive. A lot of it is not great for you. Here's the point. It's all processed. So any mix that you're putting into your drink, or a shake, or even a protein powder, just the simpler, the better. The simpler, the better. The more this is my eating philosophy, the more whole foods that you can eat, great. So, okay, I love this question. Let's see, I'm gonna scroll up to it. Do you get to pick locations? Most of them I have. And so some of them have been a collaboration, a suggestion that, I wouldn't have thought about that. Yeah, that sounds fun. But yes, so I'm curious where your dream locations would be, especially for riding. I'm really curious. That would be a really great way to wrap up tonight. Amanda says, my favorite is struggle into strength. Yes, that's how it works. That is how it works. All right. So here's the deal, my sweet people. This new year is ours to make happy. We get to decide if it's a happy new year. One of my mantras of this year is the pursuit is happiness versus the pursuit of happiness. So, right now I was just sharing, I just moved, and which is so exciting, and it's also so frustrating. I'm on the land, so I've got a propane tank for the first time, a septic system, plumbing. In this last week, there's been plumbing leaks, septic system repairs, and I currently have no propane. And so I can look at all of this as just it's really a bummer, and it's a bummer to deal with during COVID, especially, and just all of it, right? And I would really like to just be in a house that is, functioning well and in order and all of that. But my prayer, actually this all happened on the same day, and my prayer that morning was, let all of these things be a gateway. Right? So I'm in a new place, and I have some friends here, but I don't have massive community yet, right? And it's COVID and it's hard to meet people. And so I was thinking, well, I wouldn't have planned on having a plumber and a septic system repair team and a propane tank repair team and having to have phone calls about all this stuff with all these people. But when I remembered all of these are encounters with beautiful human beings that are all going through all their own stuff, and my prayer was, let this all be a doorway. Let all of this be a doorway, which is, I think, a great, prayer in facing anything, facing this whole quarantine situation, all of it. Another way of saying it, and this is one of my favorite mantras to constantly be asking of anything: what does this make possible? Whatever you're facing this week, this year, ask that question of it. What does this make possible? Okay, sure, there's lots of stuff that makes impossible, but what does it make possible? What does it make possible? So I learned all about propane this last week. And I learned about septic systems, and I met some beautiful people right through it. So I think that is the guiding, that's the guiding mantra for our year, is what does this make possible? So I'd love to connect with you further. We'll probably do an event, in here once we get that rolling. But like I said, I have my own group called Nicole Meline Sweat Family on Facebook that you can join. If you're on Instagram, I would love to connect with you there at Nicole Meline. My website has all kinds of fun stuff for you to discover. And the core of my work, aside from different courses or Heartwood or whatever it is, Weighty, is the altar community. So you can find out about that too on my website, and I have a Facebook group that's a private group for that on Facebook as well. So I would love to hear about how this year unfolds for you and what your goals are, how you're moving towards them. I respond to just about every message I get within about a day. So it's important to me. It's actually something that I do when I'm on the bike often. Okay. Big love. Let's create this happy new year. We need your dreams. Big love.